morning everybody and welcome to round 3 of the SRO GT Cup. We've got race 1 coming up for you from the Zhuhai International Circuit in China. Now there's been heavy rain over the last half an hour or so, so we're actually in for the first wet race in the history of the SRO GT Cup. And the cars are making their way out onto the circuit now to form up on the grid ahead of this 30-minute race. This is the third and fourth round of the season after the opening weekend supporting the Formula 1 World Championship race in Shanghai. After this, there's more action in Shanghai in June, Beijing Street Circuit at the start of October supporting GT World Challenge Asia powered by AWS. And then at the end of November, it will be to Macau for racing on the street circuit there. So the second year of this SRO GT Cup has another tremendous calendar. So the cars, as I say, making their way towards the grid, and it's going to be a really fascinating race, this one, because yesterday qualifying took place in wet to dry conditions, and we might have very much the same for the race today, because the circuit is damp, not dissimilar to how it started in qualifying yesterday. Not exactly flooded, as you can see, but certainly damp and in need of the driver's attention. 24 degrees is the track temperature, humidity up at 89%. So, oh, and look, straight into the gravel has gone Zhao Meng on the way to the grid. You can just see him under the graphic there. Zhao Meng has ended up in the gravel on his way to the grid. So that is a real problem for the 37-year-old in his 300 plus racing Audi R8 LMS. Will he be able to get himself out of there? He looks like he could be a bit beached, really. And that's up at turn 7, the far end of the circuit. And are those rear tyres going to have him completely beached in the gravel? You can see the rain is still coming down a little bit. Now, of course, because this is the reconnaissance lap, he will be allowed to get himself out of the gravel, or to have assistance out of the gravel and then rejoin the race. It's not like it's in the race and so outside assistance isn't required and it doesn't or isn't allowed, and it doesn't look as though he's done too much damage to the car, but still not the start that Zhao Meng would have wanted. Other cars though have made their way around to the grid. As you can see, a couple of umbrellas are up, but most of the personnel on the grid don't have any sort of rain protection, so that shows you that whilst there is drizzle in the air, it's not exactly chucking it down at the moment. And there, making his way to the front of the grid, is the pole sitter Han Lichao, just pulling into that front row grid slot. He will have Huang Quisheng alongside him on that front row. It's a lockout for the Toyota Gazoo Racing China team and their GR Supras. But this SRO GT Cup, as I say, in its second season, this will be the first ever wet race, and it's a Chinese-focused GT4 championship focused on the local market, so full of Chinese racers, Taiwanese racers, Hong Kongers, and a few drivers from Macau as well. So let's find out a little bit more about the day ahead of round 3 and 4 of the SRO GT Cup with Zoe.
Hello， 观众朋友们，这次我们来到了珠海，即将看到的是 SRO GT Cup 又一站的精彩比赛。在珠海呢，我们将有26名车手继续为大家带来精彩的赛事的角逐。在上一站刚刚结束的上海赛事呢，我们可以看到我们的整个的积分榜被33号车手韩立潮带到了一个刷新的状态哈。那稍后我们来看一下我们这位经验丰富的老将韩立潮会有怎样的一个状态，我们一起来看一下。
首先我的工作任务是需要给到大家一个好的调教的方向，然后并且呢给到这些客户车队一些建议和支持，然后在比赛里面当然是希望可以再夺更好的一个积分，然后去稳固自己在积分榜的一个头牌的位置，所以这站比赛希望大家都可以顺利完赛，安全第一。
我们可以看到这2天的天气呢是有一些阴晴不定的，虽然说早上起来阳光明媚，但是呢天气预报有显示有下雨的可能性。我们来看一下，在这种瞬息万变的天气情况当中，是否会给我们的车手和车队带来一些状况的影响呢？我们来看一下88号车手何书贤。
这一次比赛大家都预计会下雨，下雨天变数比较多嘛，所以应该也是跟上一次一样，稳扎稳打，做好自己的 pace。然后看到能够尽量争取成绩，安全第一的。目前车况都还蛮好的，整个赛事还蛮顺利的，刚刚都没有红旗之类的，表示大家都还蛮顺手，所以比赛应该是很顺利。
那我相信所有的车手和车队都希望可以顺利和安全完赛这是所有人共同的心愿。那我们这次比赛呢，可以说汇聚了非常多的老将和经验丰富的车手来这儿来进行比拼。那我们接下来看一下18号车手谢荣健，那他呢曾在澳门赛事夺冠，并且呢在2年前的 British GT 也获得了非常好的成绩。这次他来到珠海赛场有怎样的期待呢？我们来看一下。
Well, it's fantastic to be back in Zhuhai. Zhuhai is pretty much my home track. I was just talking to the team. The first time I was here was 2002, so that was a long time ago, and that's how I started racing actually. Track dates, and then it all went to some serious racing. And yes, mainly I'm British GT in the GT3, but then I'm very happy to be back in Zhuhai in the GT4, and hopefully I'll go to Macau for the final race.
通过刚才采访，我们看到车手和车队都已经将状态调整到最好的时刻了，他们可以说是摩拳擦掌，跃跃欲试。那么接下来让我们期待他们的精彩表现吧。
So great to hear from Zoe, getting us all the lowdown ahead of these 2 races that we've got coming up for you today. First about to begin, and then the second one a little bit later on this afternoon. And great to hear from Kevin Xie as well. He's in the 18 Mercedes, and as he says, mainly competing in British GT. He was at Silverstone last weekend, and after this we'll head back up to the UK and to Alton Park for the next round of the British GT Championship. But as you can see, the grid is formed, and on the front row it is a lockout for Toyota Gazoo Racing China, Han Lichao and Huang Kuisheng, and those 2 are going to be 2 of the championship front runners. The poleman, Han Lichao, is the reigning champion from 2025, and he is the current championship leader. The opening 2 races of the season took place in Shanghai, supporting the Formula 1 Grand Prix, and Han Lichao finished 2nd and 1st in that, so he's the championship leader, and we can hear from him now, down on the grid, ahead of race 1 with Zoe.
Hello， 观众朋友们，在我身旁的是我们杆位发车车手33号韩立潮，想采访一下，对于今天的雨战是否有一些期待呢？
雨战其实对于大家挑战性都挺大的，然后因为这2天其实在练习之前是没有下过雨的，所以对于所有的车手来讲，这一站的这是我们这一回合的第1个雨地，所以我希望大家可以安全顺利的完赛。
好，谢谢。那同时想问一下，对于我们这一站的这个积分榜的夺取继续能保持榜首的位置，您是否有信心？
自己是有信心去拿到这一站的积分的，然后也希望自己可以幸运顺利。对。
好，谢谢，祝您好运，加油！好，这是我们杆位发车车手33号韩立潮。那么接下来呢，让我们看一下处在第2位发车的车手的一个状态。那么处在第2号发车的是018号黄奎生，我们来看一下他此刻的准备情况怎么样了。其实可以看到呢，现在雨逐渐的变大，那一会儿我们这样潮湿的一个赛场的情况是否对车手产生一些影响？我们来采访一下。嗨，现在状态怎么样
？OK
。Do you think the slippery track can affect you?
Sorry.
A slippery track and the raining can affect you?
I think it's okay.
可以说中文吗？
可以。
那可以跟我们分享一下现在的雨战，你觉得会对你有影响吗？
应该还 OK 吧，但是我第一次开 GT 雨地的比赛，应该我希望能尽力做好吧。
好，希望取得好成绩，安全完赛，加油！ 好，这是我们的2号发车的车手黄奎生。那接下来我们看一下我们3号发车的1号叶正阳，他此刻的准备状态。雨现在也是越来越大了，大家可以看到哈。嗨，叶正阳，想问一下现在状态如何？
挺好的呀。
那对于这样的雨战，是不是会觉得对自己有些影响呢？
没有什么影响，这是我第一次在珠海比赛。
那觉得珠海的这个赛道磨合的怎么样了？
我住珠海，但是我第一次在珠海比赛，我没怎么开过。
好，那希望可以顺利完赛，加油，取得好的成绩。好，这是我们3号的车手叶正阳。我问他，他的状态如何呢？我相信呢，他此刻的状态也为他自己增加了很多的信心。虽然他是珠海人，但是也第一次在珠海赛道。So I asked him, "What's your feeling now?" He's very confident about this racing. So, good luck to all the drivers. 啊，这是我们现场的一个情况。So hand over to the commentators.
Thank you, Zoe. So there we go. We've heard from the top 3 on the grid then. Han Lichao on pole position, Huang Quisheng on second, and that was Dylan Yip, who we heard from in 3rd position, making his GT debut. He finished 4th in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia last season in what was a pretty impressive grid. And we will see what he can do today. Dylan Yip, the 25-year-old, very much up-and-coming driver. Got 6 podiums last year, on his way to finishing in 4th spot. The championship was won by Dylan Pereira, who has had success in the Porsche Super Cup and now racing in SRO series. I think he was competing in GT World Challenge Europe a little earlier on. Brands Hatch, Dylan Pereira, after winning Porsche Carrera Cup Asia last year. So it was Dylan Pereira won the championship, Enzo Trulli in 2nd, Hugo Ellis in 3rd, and then Dylan Yip finishing in 4th spot. So a good effort from him. So Dylan Yip is under investigation, though, as are a couple of others, including Ho Xiuxian and Joey Ho, for not going straight to the grid. It sounds like they've passed through the pit lane and then done another reconnaissance lap. So that could be interesting and could lead to a penalty potentially. But there is Wang Hao, who will be starting in 6th position on the grid. In his number 21, another Toyota Gazoo Racing China entry. He's a regular in China GT and the Endurance Championships. There is Joey Ho, who I just mentioned in the 91 BMW, the man from Taiwan, in his Level Motorsports BMW. And he another who's under investigation, but we'll wait and see what race control have to say about that. It will be a safety car start because of these wet conditions. And that will be getting underway in just a minute's time or so. So the field ready to head off. There's Billy Lowe, the man from Macau. Door shut because we're about to get going with the race. And it's the front row lockout for Toyota Gazoo Racing China. Han Lichao on the left-hand side as we look at it. Over on the right-hand side is the 018 of Huang Quisheng. Now, Huang had a good first race in Shanghai. He finished in 3rd position, but ran into trouble in race 2, so only finished down in 16th as a result. Han Lichao has a pretty strong championship advantage. But if Huang Quisheng can usurp him here today, he can try and chip away at that deficit. 15-second board held up. And round 3 of the SRO GT Cup in Zhuhai is about to get underway behind the safety car in these wet, slippery, greasy conditions. As the cars move away now. Clock has started behind the safety car. So the race has begun, and this 30-minute race has 29 minutes and 30 seconds left. So the car's heading down towards turn 1. This Zhuhai circuit that was built in 1996, the oldest permanent racing facility in China. When it was built, they were hoping to attract Formula One, but that had to wait till the Shanghai International Circuit. Here's a look at the grid for the first race of the weekend. Front row lockout, as I say, for the Toyota Gazoo Racing Team China. We've got Chang Ka-ping sitting in 5th place. Ho is in 7th with Lo Kai-feng alongside him. Completing the top 10 is Moritz Barrenburg, the German in the Porsche. He's the reigning AM champion, and he is alongside Derek Ho in that 5th row of the grid. We've got Zhao Meng, we'll keep an eye on him, 13th on the grid, but he did end up in the gravel a few moments ago, so we'll see whether he's managed to get back out onto the circuit. Hopefully he has. Yang Kai-wen will be alongside him. There is Kevin Xie starting in 15th position, just alongside Fok Wai-ming. Tang Yongqing is 17th. Maximiano Manho starts in 18th position. He's another young up-and-coming driver, ready one to watch. Ouyang Zhenwei is 19th on the grid alongside Kelvin Long, who's a very experienced racer in his BMW, who's in 20th place. Lau Kim Ho in his Ginetta lines up 21st. In fact, he and Kenny Chung making it a row of Ginettas on the 11th row of the grid. And Wang Cheng Tu and Sai Chang Ta complete the 24 cars that are about to take to this race. So behind the Yaris safety car for at least the opening lap. We'll keep our eye out on when the lights go out on the safety car, but when it does, it will be Lichao who will lead the way. Just a straight sprint to the line, no pit stops unless it, you know, massively dries out, but I can't imagine that it will over the next half an hour when you look at the amount of rain that's still coming down and a little bit of standing water on the side of the circuit, but not a huge amount on the track itself. And the safety car does stay out for at least one more lap. So as I was saying, this Zhuhai circuit, built in 1996 and has been a regular on the GT racing calendar. In fact, the first ever race here was an SRO race in the BPR Global Series. Well, in fact, that series initially started racing on the streets of Zhuhai, which is just over the border from Macau. And it's considered to be the home track as well for many of the Hong Kong drivers, and we have quite a few of them in the field here today. But the permanent facility, built in 1996, hosted the likes of A1 GP back in 2007, where actually Frankie Chen Kong Fu, who races in GT World Challenge Asia powered by AWS, he was on the podium that weekend for Team China. The race victories went the way of Michael Ammermuller for Team Germany and Narain Karthikeyan for Team India. But anyway, nearly 20 years ago now, that A1 GP, and the focus now is on the SRO GT Cup, round 3 of the championship. Lichao, reigning champion and championship leader, is at the front of the field, and the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. This is down at turn 7 here, as they swing through this right-hander. Takes them back out towards the double left of 9 and 10, then another long straight up into a tight right-hander of turn 11. This is the run towards 9 and 10. The double left, the lap times in the dry were in the 1 minute 40, well, I was going to say 1 minute 43s, but Lichao did a 1 minute 42.981. But I think we'll be considerably slower than that when the racing gets underway here, because it does look as though the rain is still coming down out there. It doesn't look like it's, you know, bucketing it down. But the lights are off on the safety car. And in drizzly conditions, the first ever wet race for SRO GT Cup is about to get underway. Dylan Yip there, third in the Mercedes. Then the 89 of Cao Tzu Lung in 4th position. But Han Lichao will now take over the pace of the field. In fact, he might have gone already. Han Lichao floors it and gets going. What a great getaway. Safety car comes in. We're underway in round 3 of SRO GT Cup. Around the Zhuhai International Circuit, and it is Han Lichao leading with 24 minutes left on the clock. Now the safety cars come in. The spray kicking up further back. Dylan Yip looks out to just try and get a bit of visibility coming into turn 1. Side-by-side action further back. Moritz Barrenburg is looking to the inside, trying to get his way past Derek Ho. No changes of position there, although he's got a good run out of turns 1 and 2. And Barrenburg does get ahead of Ho. This is Chang Ka-ping, who is the leader of the AM class and is currently in 5th position. Started 5th, is still 5th, but he's got Wang Hao right behind him. As they come now through turn 6 and 7 again. Dylan Yip with a big lurch to the inside of the circuit. Whether that's to try and get visibility or to try and maybe distract Huang Kuisheng a little. We'll see whether he continues to do that. And it is a drive-through penalty for the man in 3rd place, Dylan Yip. Also for the 88 of Derek Ho and the 91 of Joey Ho. And those were all penalties for coming back through the pit lane and then doing a second reconnaissance lap to the grid, which is not allowed in the regulations. And so Dylan Yip, running in 3rd position, will have to serve a drive-through penalty. Not the way he wanted his SRO GT Cup campaign to begin by any stretch. But it's Han Lichao who's leading the way, and straight in comes Dylan Yip. Through the right-hander at the pit lane entry, and this will send him tumbling down the order. Surely it's going to send him all the way to the back of the field, but we'll wait and see on that one. But it does promote Cao Su Lung up into 3rd position. Through he comes. So the whole of the field at the end of that previous lap was covered by about 30 seconds or so. So he's going to come out somewhere in the mid-pack potentially, as we've still got cars side by side. There is Dylan Yip coming out, just as we see a move made from Jiang Huiling. He makes his way up past Billy Lowe. And then Dylan Yip has come out in the middle of all of that. And there is the 88 BMW of Derek Ho serving his drive-through penalty as well. He's coming out a lot further back in the pack. Head of this field, well, there is Dylan Yip again, lurching to the inside to try and look up the inside of Moritz Barrenburg. So in the end, Dylan Yip, I think, has come out in basically 10th position. So that's not too bad, is it, from a drive-through penalty to come out still in 10th place? But we'll have to keep an eye on the timing tower on the left-hand side, because at the moment Dylan Yip is showing us in 2nd place. Now that could be because he took the inside into the final corner, and actually the timing registered him ahead of Huang Kuisheng. Now this is the little queue behind Yang Kai-wen. As these drivers squabble. 20 minutes remaining in the race. Han Lichao is still leading it as we come into the final corner. And Kevin Sepp is in that Mercedes that's going to be under big pressure now from Moritz Barrenburg. They're battling over 8th position. Barrenburg in the fluorescent Porsche pulls to the inside into turn 1 and makes the move on Kevin Sepp. Xie thought about the cutback, couldn't get there in time, but actually Barrenburg's got a great run off the corner and tries to get past Yang Kai-wen and does so. So 2 moves made in 2 corners there for Moritz Barrenburg. There's Dylan Yip sending one down the inside of Kevin Sepp. So that moves Yip up into 9th position. Hey, not bad damage limitation considering he had to serve that drive-through penalty. Up at the front, and Lichao has an advantage of 2.4 seconds over Huang Quisheng, with Cao Tzu-lung in third position, and Wang Hao has got ahead of Chan Ka-ping. So that is crucial for the AM class, because that moves Wang Hao up into the lead of the AM class. 19 minutes left on the clock. We're watching the 44 of Chan Ka-ping, who's now under pressure. Chen Chunhua in the 15, and who's competed in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, GT World Challenge Asia, and Thailand Super Series. Number 15 Mercedes AMG looking very racy indeed, with Moritz Barrenburg coming with him as well. So this three-way fight over 6th position coming down towards turn 1. Barrenburg to the inside of Chen. Can Barrenburg do 2 in 1 corner again? He can! So 2 laps in a row, Moritz Barrenburg has overtaken 2 drivers into turn 1. Flying up the order, that puts him up in 5th position. Chen is still trying to pass Chan, goes to the inside coming into turn 4. Good respectful racing between the two of them, but they could both find themselves under attack from Dylan Yip in a moment in the number 1 Mercedes. Swinging through the right-hander of turn 6, down towards 7. Here comes Dylan Yip. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide. No, Yip bails out of it, but he does manage to get ahead of Chan. So Chen gets through on Chan, and Yip follows through too. They've now been joined, I think, by Yang Kai-wen at the back of that field. Great racing in the mid-pack. Yip looking to the inside of Chen, but unable to make the move on that occasion, although a little bit wide from Chen Chunhua. Moritz Barrenburg, you can see, is getting away, but now this should be the opportunity for Dylan Yip to make it past. He manages to make that stick. So here is the race leader, Han Lichao, 5 seconds ahead of Huang Quisheng. Looking for 2 wins out of 3 races is Han Lichao. Huang doesn't look like he's quite got the pace to keep up with him at the moment. The TCR China racer. Here now is Kevin Xie. And he has just made his way past Chan Ka-ping. So Xie is climbing up the order. Chan is falling back down the order because he started 5th on the grid, did Chan Ka-ping, in that 44 Audi. He also races in Malaysian touring cars, does Chan. Slipped back a long way over the course of this race so far. So leading this group of cars is Chen, and Kevin Xie is now closing in on him. British GT race winner Kevin Xie. Number 18, Mercedes, and then a splash through the puddle there for Dylan Yip. He's running in 9th position. This is one of the closest battles on track, but they are fighting all the way down the order. Han Lichao's got his comfortable advantage. Everyone else is very close together. And Yip trying to close in on the cars ahead of him. Now there is Jiao Meng in the 924 on the inside in the Audi, coming into the left-hander at turns 9 and 10 and trying to force the move, and he gets it done. Nicely done from Jiao Meng. Well, actually, it's Jiao Meng slipping backwards a little bit. He's battling here with Yu Rao. Jiao Meng was 10th at the start of the last lap, so I'm not quite sure how he's slipped back to be battling with Yu over 13th position, but the two are going side by side again. Yu Rao, who's stepped up from the Toyota Gazoo Cup, which he was competing in last year, now into the GT4 Toyota. And he's holding on ahead of Zhao Meng for the time being. So they are squabbling over 12th position. Oh, and that's deep, deep, deep. Yu Rao's in the grass, almost on the gravel. Keeps it out of trouble. Well, keeps it to a mild bit of trouble. But he loses out to Zhao Meng, and I think he's going to be under pressure now from Lo Kai Feng. In the 36 Audi right up behind him. He's recovered his pace pretty quickly, hasn't he? So should be all right to hold on to that 12th position, sorry, 13th position as it is now, because Zhao Meng is up into 12th. A few little looks further back, a tentative nose down the inside from Tang Yuqing, trying to make his way past Fok Wai Ming. I think he's pulled that off. Up into 15th place now for Tang Yuqing, the number 13 car. He always races number 13, actually. Mainly in Subaru BRZ Championship, but he's also making this move up to proper GT cars. And yeah, always chooses to race the number 13 when he can. This is Zhao Meng fighting again with Yu Rao over 12th position. So Yu Rao dropped back, but now has caught back up to Zhao Meng. Down the back straight towards turn 14. The final corner on the circuit. Zhao covering the sort of middle ground coming into that final turn. That gives Yu Rao a great drive off it. And he's back up into 12th position, where he started the last lap, but that doesn't really tell the story of the adventurous lap he's had. Zhao Ming's not done with this, though. Sends it back to the inside into turn 1. The rain's still falling, the windscreen wiper's still going. These two side by side. Oh, and a back marker there that they're having to try and avoid. Just managed to get past Kelvin Leong. It's not a back marker, actually, Kelvin Leong. He was running up in 11th place at the start of that lap, so he's suddenly lost a lot of pace through turn 1. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Han Lichao, though, leads the way. There he is. 5.8 seconds ahead of Huang Kuicheng. 11.5 minutes to go, and Han is looking very comfortable, very in control as he comes across the line once more. His teammate Huang follows him through. The gap up to 6.2 seconds now. And then in third place, we've got Cao Tzu-lung in the 89 Level Motorsports Toyota. And then it is Wang Hao who is leading the AM class at the moment in his Toyota Gazoo Racing China entry. Solid drive this from Wang. He got up to the front of the fit. Well, he started 6th on the grid. Has taken advantage of the troubles for the likes of Dylan Yip. And the experienced Wang Hao is leading the way in the AM class. As I say, a regular in Chinese GT and Chinese Endurance Championships. And now taking part in SRO GT Cup. It's Wong, and Wong runs a bit wide and loses the spot. No, apologies, Wong's getting lapped. He's 24th in the field at the moment, so that was Wong getting out of the way of the front runners coming through. Moving out of the way of Wang. SRO GT Cup regular Wong Cheng Tu. But having a tough time of it this afternoon. Qualified 23rd. very tricky, damp conditions. He's running down in 24th at the moment. Kenny Chung got ahead of him at the start. So 6.6 seconds now, the gap up the front. Han Lichao extends his advantage a little, only by 0.4 of a second on that last lap over Huang Qisheng, but he does seem to have the pace advantage. And then it's 20 seconds back from the front two, back to Cao Tzu Lung in third spot. Well, this would give Han Lichao a very big advantage. You can see him going offline to try and cool the tyres. Now we go back into the midfield melee. This is the scrap over around 14th, 15th, 16th place. You saw the 91 be, well, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. They're all in a line together, aren't they? Coming into the final corner. And this is Tang Yuqing at the head of the field, with Joey Ho in the BMW trying to get past him. So Ho in the 91 BMW moves to the right-hand side as we look at it, then tries to sell the dummy. Needs to be careful because Derek Ho in the other BMW's in there too. And all of a sudden, Tang Yuqing is getting a bit swamped here, and two BMWs go past him before you know it. So that is now 15th and 16th for Joey Ho and Derek Ho. They make their way up the order. There they go, 15th and 16th. Two BMWs running together and carving their way through the field together. Gap at the front goes up to 6.8 seconds, so another 0.2 of a second gained by Han Lichao on that last lap. There is Kelvin Leong in the number 6 BMW. He's stabilised a little, hasn't he, after running in 10th a few laps ago and dropping a few positions. He has got a grip on things now and is sitting fairly comfortably in that 13th place. These two are having a great battle, aren't they? Joey Ho trying to fend off Derek Ho. As they are fighting over that 15th position. As they come out onto the back straight and down towards the final corner once again at turn 14. 6 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. The two classes that we have here are, well, mainly two classes. Silver for silver graded drivers and the AM for the bronze graded drivers. This is going to be a bit close, isn't it, into turn 1? And all of a sudden Lo Kai Feng finds himself overtaken by not one but two BMWs again. They're sort of working in tandem, aren't they, the BMWs, as they carve through the field. Only one got through on that occasion. So that is Joey Ho up into 14th place, Lo Kai Feng down to 15th, and 16th is Derek Ho. I was just explaining the classes, wasn't I? So silver is the silver class for silver graded drivers, and AM is the class for the bronze rated drivers. You can see on the left hand side the bronze colour indicates that, but there's also a class for the Macau element of this race. And here comes Dylan Yip, sending one to the inside of Chan Ka-ping. Big splash on the apex. Chan holds it around the outside. This is over 8th position. Dylan Yip has been catching Chan over the last lap, or the last few laps. And he's now up in this fight for 8th position, because not far ahead of him is the 15 Mercedes of Kevin Siep. So this overall is for 6th, 7th and 8th. Five minutes to go. Dylan Yip can see 2 more positions. After that, it's about 14 seconds up the road to Moritz Barrenburg. So I think these could be the last 2 positions that Yip has the chance of reclaiming. Remember, he qualified 3rd fastest got a drive-through penalty on the opening lap and has now dispatched Chan Ka-ping and moves up into 8th position. 4.5 minutes to go. Han Lichao still leading. Dylan Yip on a charge and now trying to find his way past Chen Chunhua. There is Kevin Xie. He is the Macau class leader because this SRO, this competition, SRO GT Cup, is also a qualifier for the Macau Grand Prix at the end of the year. So you have the SRO GT Cup element, you have the MTCS element, which is the Macau element. Dylan Yip trying to get to the inside, quite able to get there on Chen Chunhua. As Kevin Xie, in this case, as he mentioned at the show, he was a British GT. That's his main. Oh, in the gravel. Fok Wai Ming at the final corner, and he could be beached. The Chinese GT racer is in the gravel bed. I think that's the final corner. The green flags are waving after it. And 3 minutes to go. Here's Dylan Yip, still looking to the inside to try and make his way past Chen Chunhua. Just to finish that point about Kevin Xie, race Silverstone last weekend, then off to Bolton Park next weekend to continue his British GT challenge. Now, that's a good run from Dylan Yip. Really gets a good run through turn 3, doesn't he? And is able to execute the move into 4 exactly as he did 1 lap ago to get past Chan Ka-ping. He is now up into 7th place ahead of Chen Chunhua. I think that will be about as far as Dylan Yip can make progress up the order. 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining. Han Lichao, the leader. Lap times in these damp conditions are a little slower. The best lap so far of the race is Han Lichao on a 1 minute 50.235. So that's the fastest lap of the race. He's just come across the line now, so it's going to be very, very tight. But I think we will get 1 more lap out of this one. 1 more lap at the end of this one, I should say. So 2 to go as they're coming across the line now. It'll be tight with Han, but I think he's got enough of an advantage. Into turn 1. And it's 30 minutes plus 1 lap, of course, my apologies. So it's 30 minutes plus 1 lap, so I don't need to do any of that second guessing of when someone's going to come across the line. So that's nice. We were just looking there at Cao Tzu-lung running in 3rd position. And then this is Wang Hao in 4th position. He's closed in, hasn't he, actually? So we're getting a fight for 3rd place in these closing laps. Less than a second between Cao and Wang over 3rd position. On the last lap, Wang took 0.4 of a second out of Cao, and just 0.8 between them as they came across the line. So Wang leading the AM class and closing in potentially on an overall podium. Han Lichao, though, has it under control out front. Huang Guisheng in 2nd has closed the gap a little over the last few laps. The gap was as high as, I think, 6.8 seconds. It's been nibbled back to 6.3. But now, Han Lichao is starting the penultimate lap of the race with 23 seconds left on the clock as he comes across the line. Dramatically going to the inside, I think, to try and find some water in a wetter part of the racetrack, perhaps to just cool his tyres down a little bit, because it's not getting a dry line, but it's certainly not soaked, is it, on the racing line? Especially if they're doing 1 minute 50s, which is only 8 seconds or so off the ultimate qualifying pace. So the clock is down to 0, and we should have 1 more lap at the end of this one. Han Lichao's lead comes down a little to 6 seconds. But again, Wang isn't going to be close enough to close in. But there's only 0.3 of a second now between third and fourth. Cao Zulong and Wang Hao, just 3/10 between them as they came across the line that time. So Wang Hao has chipped away, chipped away, chipped away. He's now in the fight for the overall podium. Han Lichao, though, has absolutely dominated this. Well, he's dominated the weekend so far, to be honest. He came out flying in qualifying. Was about 2 seconds quicker than the rest of the field on his first qualifying lap. They closed in, but couldn't get anywhere near him ultimately. He took pole position, albeit by less than 1/10 of a second, but nevertheless, it has not really been in doubt for Han Lichao. Car number 33, the championship leader and reigning champion, through the final corner. And starts his final lap. The gap 6 seconds to Huang Quisheng in second place. But who is going to be third across the line? Cao Zulong and Wang Hao were very close last time through. So we'll keep an eye on the tower on the left-hand side. Confirmation from race control. We're on to the last lap. Here they come, third and fourth. 0.8 of a second between them still. So the fight for the final podium position. Wang Hao should win the AM class, whatever happens. But can he get himself up onto an overall podium? He's right with Cao Zulong, isn't he? But not quite able to do anything about Cao, who's had a quiet race in third position. The gap's come down a bit, hasn't it? Wang is getting closer and closer as they come through the right-hand kink of turn 6 into the heavy braking zone of turn 7. Good drive off it from Wang. But here is Han Lichao. Up into turn 11 for the final time. Victory in the second race of the weekend in Shanghai, the second race of the season there, after being beaten by Liang Jiatong to race 1 honours. It looks like it's going to be 2 from 2 for Han Lichao. The checker flag falls. Han Lichao wins again in SRO GT Cup. The reigning champion extends his championship advantage, finishing 6 seconds ahead of Huang Quisheng. Brilliant victory from Han Lichao, absolutely dominant. Who's going to be third? It looks like it is going to be Cao Zulong. He's managed to hold off a late surge from Wang Hao. Third across the line for Cao Zulong, but Wang Hao wins the AM class by finishing 4th overall. Second in AM is going to go to Moritz Barrenburg in the Porsche, the reigning AM champion. But he is not leading the AM championship now. Then it will be, to win the Macau class, the MTCS class, Kevin Xie across the line in his Mercedes. There he is. Oh, sorry, no, that's Chen, isn't it? Chen across the line in his Mercedes to finish 8th. Kevin Xie has already come through. In fact, Kevin Xie only was 1 second ahead of Dylan Yip at the end of that race, so Yip really closed in. There across the line comes Yang Kai-wen in 10th position. Yu Rao finishes in 11th place. It'll be Zhao Meng to come through in 12th position ahead of Kelvin Leong and Lo Kai Feng. No, Lo Kai Feng got ahead of Kelvin Leong on that last lap. So great work from Lo Kai Feng. Kelvin Leong has to settle for 14th position. Yong Zhang Wei comes over in 19th, and Lau Kim Hu is the last of the drivers to take the checkered flag. But it is victory and a 1-2 for Toyota Gazoo Racing China, and a victory for Han Lichao. 6.3 seconds in the end, ahead of Huang Quisheng. He returns to the pit lane. Big puddles still out there. We'll see what the weather's going to do. Potentially, it'll dry up. For the second race, a little bit later on today. But it's been sort of cloudy and drizzly over the whole course of the day. At the moment we are, well, it's meant to, about 10 o'clock local time, which is about 15 minutes, the rain is meant to ease off. So it could be dry a little bit later on. But here is Lichao then. Returning to Parc Fermé. 2 wins from 2. He is delighted with that one, absolutely dominant. Huang Quisheng comes across to congratulate his teammate. Nothing he could do today to match Han. And the race winner and championship leader, Lichao, takes victory in the first race in Zhuhai. As I say, make sure you join us for the second race. It'll be, well, wherever you're watching us now, you'll be able to see race 2 a little bit later on, including streamed on the GT World YouTube channel, where you can keep up to date with all the other GT action from around the globe, really. The cars back in Parc Fermé, and we can hear from the race winner, Lichao. Another victory, lights to flag win. He's with Zoe.
好，观众朋友们，在我身旁是33号车手，首位带回的Lichao。首先恭喜杆位发车直接夺冠哈，这样一个Pole to Win真的是很高兴了。好，想问一下Lichao现在此刻的心情如何？
非常开心，然后所以想感谢的人非常多，然后首先是当然是丰田中国，然后还有 GR China 我们车队，这个周末大家都做出了很多的努力，然后其实我们雨地的设定是在干地的时候就已经有一个想法和做过测试了，所以虽然没有真正在雨地去跑过，但是相信今天的这个结果还是证明了这个雨地的调教还是非常好的，所以感谢团队为这场比赛做出的努力。
那可以说呢，又一次为自己的积分榜呢争得了一个非常不错的一个席位，再次扩大了一个领先优势。那对于我们下一场比赛有什么期待吗？
当然下一场比赛，希望可以再次获得更好的成绩。然后，因为下一站比赛也是在上赛，上赛呢也是我们拿过很多次冠军的地方，所以在那儿呢，我们不仅仅是希望可以继续拿到冠军，而是不断的去超越自己的成绩。
Okay, let's speak English. So congratulations to Pole to Win. What's your feeling now?
I'm very, very happy, and thank you my team, thank you Toyota China, and today is a raining day, so the track is very dry, so I drive my car very carefully, and other guys is safety, so I'm happy, yeah.
Okay, congratulations again. Come on. Okay. 好，这是我们33号车手Lichao的一个此刻的状态啊，再次恭喜。好，那接下来呢，我们来看一下其他车手是否能接受采访。Okay, let's hand over to the competitors.
So, thank you very much, Zoe. Lichao, the victor then. Race 2 coming up a little bit later on this afternoon, as I say. We will be on air at 3:05 local time in Zhuhai. That is 7:05 GMT. So you can work that out wherever you are in the world. That will be the time for race 2. So basically 5 hours from now, we will be back with you for the second race of the weekend. We can go back down to the Parc Fermé, and the winner of the AM class, Wang Hao, finished 4th overall, and he's now with Zoe.
观众朋友们，在我身旁的是21号车手王浩啊，可以看到呢，从杆位啊，从我们的一个发车位起跑呢，一直是可以说成功的追击，直到我们一直在往前一步一步的走，可以看到非常的不错。而且这一场虽然是雨战，但是没有出现特别极端的情况，还是恭喜顺利完赛了。那对于今天的表现，对自己作何评价呢？
今天感觉总体表现感觉还算可以吧，然后也算稳定发挥吧，把组别的第1给带回来。起步的时候还算很顺利，但是今天天气确实有点恶劣，有一定的挑战性。
那想问一下，对于这样的一个雨战的状态，是否有提前做一些准备呢？
一开始昨天排位也是雨地吧，算半干地吧，然后今天也是提前把雨胎都准备好了，然后上起步到发车区的时候，也都是用的全新的雨胎。下面。
好，恭喜王浩获得组别这一场的冠军，同时可以登上领奖台。OK，thank you. How are you rest? 好，休息一下，谢谢。I asked him and congratulations to win AM winner. So he's very happy and do some exercise to this racing. So he's very happy. 那刚才呢，针对他的表现呢，我们也进行了恭喜，同时他也表示对于雨战状态是提前做了一些心理预期的，所以今天发挥的不错，也再次恭喜他获得组别的一个冠军。那稍后呢，我们将针对下一组别的一个获胜选手18号 Kevin 来做一个简单的采访。现在让我们将时间交给 commentator。Let's hand over to the commentator.
So I think that now moves Wang Hao up into the lead of the AM Championship. That's his second win of the season. He won the AM class in round 1 in Shanghai. Didn't pick up many points at all in round 2, but I think the 25 points he'll pick up there will take him above Moritz Barrenburg and the previous AM Championship leader, which was Derek Ho. So Wang Hao goes to the top of the timings of the championship. Now let's head back down. We can hear from Kevin Sear. He won the Macau class, the MTCS class, and he too is with Zoe.
好，观众朋友们，在我身旁的是18号车手 Kevin. Congratulations to win MTSC's winner. So congratulations, and how's your feeling now?
Thank you. It was not bad, 16 to 6 overall, but then yesterday we had some trouble with the car. So today the car is finally feeling better, so I was able to climb up the places and happy with the class win.
Congratulations and have a rest. OK， 好，这是我们18号车手 Kevin 此刻的一个状态。那刚才呢，针对我们几个组别的冠军呢，都进行了采访。稍后我们会在颁奖台上看到他们的精彩表现。好，现在让我们将时间交给解说员 ，Let's hand over to the commentator.
Yeah, not much time for a rest though, is there, for Kevin Sear? Because we've only got, well, 5 hours till we get going again. But race 1 of the SRO GT Cup, round 3 of the championship complete, and it is a Toyota Gazoo Racing China 1-2. Han Lichao and Huang Qisheng taking the victory, 6.3 seconds between them at the end. It was very close for third, but overall, Cao Su-lung finished in that third spot, just ahead of the AM winner, Wang Hao. Moritz Barrenburg finishing in 5th position. Kevin Sear won the Macau class, just ahead of Dylan Yip. Dylan Yip in a different class, but there was just a second between them, and when they got to the line. Dylan Yip had to serve a drive-through penalty on the opening lap, so impressive from him to come back up into 7th place. Yang Kai-wen completed the top 10. Yu Rao had an interesting day. He ended up in the grass at one point down at turn 1, but he still managed to finish in 11th place. Zhao Meng ended up in the gravel before the race actually got underway, but was able to recover and come through and finish in 12th place overall. Maximiano Mano had a quiet race to 18th position in the number 16 machine, and Lau Kim Hu in his Ginetta completed the top 20, and this bumper field of cars was 26 entered for the weekend, 24 took to the start of the race today after a few ailments here and there, but it was a packed grid and a really entertaining race. The first ever wet race in SRO GT Cup history. So we'll be getting on with the podium presentations in a couple of moments' time. But it's going to be a fascinating race later on. Let's take a look back at the highlights of this race just now. Zhuhai International Circuit, round 3 of SRO GT Cup. And it started behind the safety car as the rain teamed down in China. Safety car came in and Lichao led the way. A lead that he never really relinquished or looked like relinquishing. Dylan Yip had to serve a drive-through penalty. He'd qualified third, but on the opening lap he had to serve a drive-through for doing 2 reconnaissance laps on his way to the grid. He came out in the midfield melee, where there was great fighting all the way through. Jiang Hui Lin there making a move. And those in the pits keeping an eye on the action. There was some good fighting between Yu Ro and Lo Kai Feng as Dylan Yip started to pick off positions. That was him getting past Chen Chunhua and up into the top 10. Yu Rao was having some great fights out there. That was him going side by side with Zhao Meng, bumping over the curb, and a little bit later on in the race he outbroke himself coming into turn 1 and ended up in the grass. Flirted with the gravel but managed to keep it going and only lost 1 place in the end to Zhao. There were some nice lunges as well as Tang Yuqing there made his way past Fok Wai Ming, but Fok Wai Ming's race would end in the gravel trap a little bit later on. Very close fight for 3rd position. Cao Zulung managed to hold on ahead of the class winner in Am, Wang Hao. 2nd place went the way of Huang Kuisheng, but the race winner, Han Lichao, absolutely dominated the race, built a 6-second lead quite quickly and then just maintained the gap, took the checkered flag, extended his championship lead by winning round 3 of the SRO GT Cup in Zhuhai. So we will look forward to the action coming up in 5 hours' time for race 2. As I say, make sure you come back and join us for that, because I think if it's going to be a dry race, we'll see a very different field and a different pecking order. But the podium's getting underway then, first of all for MTCS GT, the Macau element of the race. And on the top step in the middle there, Kevin Xie. 2nd place is Chang Ka Ping. The trophy, first of all, going to the 3rd place driver Billy Lowe. There is Chan receiving his trophy. And Kevin Xie doesn't get one. Here it is, he gets the big gold one. Top step of the podium for Kevin Xie, winner of the MTCS class in Zhuhai. Great performance from Kevin Xie. As he said in his interview with Zoe after the race, he started 16th. So to come through and finish 6th and win his class was a very good performance. You can see that no rain coming down at the moment. And the clouds starting to break. Maybe, is that a bit of blue sky in the cloud? Maybe not quite, but certainly looks drier than when we started the first SRO GT Cup race of the day. As we get ready for the next race action that's going to be going on at Zhuhai. And out of interest, it is the Macau Road Car Challenge that is also racing here this weekend. We're going to be having the silver podium next. Oh, wow. Bit of wildlife in the gravel trap. No need to bring out the safety car. I'm sure there are some keen bird watchers out there who might know what that is, but I've got no idea, I'm afraid. So here comes the Silver Cup podium. Up into third place comes Cao Sulung. Second position for Huang Quisheng. And the top step of the podium for Han Lichao. Solid drive from Cao Sulung to finish in third place. He started in fourth, was promoted a position through Dylan Yip's drive-through penalty. I'm hoping that with Dylan Yip, in an ideal world, not getting a drive-through penalty later, we might see a more of a battle between these drivers in the dry. But it is the top step for Han Lichao, victor in round 3 of the SRO GT Cup at Zhuhai. And now we'll move on to the AM podium in a couple of moments' time. And as I say, I think with his victory in the AM class, Wang Hao will have now moved to the top of the AM class trophy, of the AM class championship. Third place, though, in the AM class, going to Chen Chunhua. Second place to the reigning champion, Moritz Barrenburg. And the top step of the podium, and now the lead of the championship for Wang Hao. Mr. Patrick from Pirelli Asia handing out the trophies. Second place to Barrenburg. And the gold trophy on the top step. His second win of the season, Wang Hao. Won the opening race in Shanghai, had a difficult second race in Shanghai, but now is back to the top step and will look to repeat that a little bit later on this afternoon. So a great first race of the weekend in Zhuhai. And confirmation that the victor, as if we needed confirmation because he's been absolutely dominant, but it is Han Lichao who takes the victory, 6.3 seconds ahead of Huang Quisheng. The winner in the AM class, Wang Hao, ahead of Moritz Barrenburg and Chen Chunhua. And the MTCS class winner, the Team TRC Mercedes of Kevin Xie. Second, and that was Chan Ka-ping. And Yang Kai-Wen completing the top 10 for 300 plus racing. Dylan Yip managing to finish in 7th place. As I say, I'm hopeful with a dry race later on and Dylan Yip not having a drive-through penalty, he'll be up in that fight with Han, Huang, Cao and Wang, because they were all very evenly paced in qualifying yesterday, admittedly in changeable conditions there too. Yu Rao finishing in 11th place, Zhao Meng finishing in 12th position, Lo Kai Feng in his Mogan Team TDK Audi R8 finished in 13th spot. So that's all from us for race 1. We will be back for race 2 in exactly 5 hours time. You can check it out wherever you've been watching this, including the SRO GT World YouTube page. But for now, race 1 of SRO GT Cup complete.